Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and discoveringbands.com. For everyone watching shares video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Doors in the Labyrinth. How you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you today?
Good, good. It's great to have you. And I want to start off by saying I really like the band name. How did that come to be?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of half a story, half a dream that I had. The concept is there's this labyrinth. It's not a dream, but you can get there through dreams. And in that labyrinth, there are a myriad doors. One will lead you home. One will lead you to different worlds. One will lead you to someone else's dreams. You are lost in this labyrinth. You are stuck. The only way to get home is trial and error. Try doors, but maybe they won't lead you back. And you can't stay in the labyrinth because it's not safe there either. Kind of inspired a little bit by reading House of Leaves. This story has come up at my work. I started out doing noise, and I did a concept album that was more noise focused based on that story. And when I started this project, I thought, you know, that's an awesome concept. I haven't done enough with that concept. Why not make the entire band that concept? And it works because, again, having done some noise and even doing some noise now under this name, anything I want to do, I'm not locked into one style, because if I change styles, hey, that's just another door in the labyrinth.
I like the meaning behind it.
Thanks.
Now, what got you into this whole dark style of music, the darkwave, post-punk, goth, noise? How'd you get into all that?
Well, I started doing music around 2000, and I was listening to a lot of noise at the time. Started out with Sonic Youth, got into stuff like Swans, and that led me into Nurse with Wound and Aub and some of the heavier noise stuff. So I started making music like that, and then I branched out. I started another project doing traditional folk music, and another project doing synth pop, and another one doing techno, and then I stopped doing any performance music and started doing film scores for a few years, and decided after doing that for 5 or 6 years that I really missed performing, and I wasn't as fulfilled doing the film music, because when you're doing film music, what's appropriate for the movie is not necessarily the music that you want to make. So I decided to stop that and start a new project that I could perform with, something that I could sing with again. I started out with this 2015, 2016-ish, and my initial parameters were I wanted to rip off Lycia. So I started out doing the whispery vocals things, way too much reverb on everything. And the project has morphed, again, trying to keep this genre fluid. I can do anything under this name. So it's each release has kind of been a little thematically connected, but I like to think drifting through related styles.
And how's the scene for this type of music in Pittsburgh where you're at?
It's not bad. We've got some good promoters in town. I'm sure you're familiar with Distortion Productions and Jim Simonek. He does the Electronic Saviors Project. That's located here in Pittsburgh. And Jim's puts on some great shows. We also have DJ Kelly A, who's been doing shows. She ran the Goth Night when I moved here back in the late 90s. So she's been in the scene longer than I have. And she occasionally puts on shows. On the more experimental end, we've got Manny Thiner in town, and he's been promoting shows, all sorts of shows, going way back to the early 90s. And he's always supported the more experimental end of goth and industrial. So when I was doing noise, I was doing shows for him, and I've done shows for him with what I'm doing now. So the scene's a lot focused on the club end of things, which unfortunately right now my music is getting less and less club friendly. But there's an audience here, and they're really engaged. It's a great city, and a great city for music.
And tell us about your latest album, In the Shadow of the Monolith.
Yeah, so that started right before the pandemic. I had done a track for Silver Records, started a Droneuary series. So they wanted drone tracks that he would release every day throughout January. And I thought it would be fun to do a track that started out kind of synth gothy and moved into a little bit more guitar stuff, but within the concept of a drone, so a single chord. And it got really, pat myself on the back here, really good, like better than I was expecting it to sound. And I realized that when I got to the second half of the song where I got more guitars and keeping it drony, but rather than keeping the synth type drums that I was using before, I ended up going with more rock type drums. So it kind of developed a little bit of a post-rock influence, seeing my huge fan of Godspeed You Black Emperor, and again, used to listen to a lot of Swans, so that sort of heavy drony music really speaks to me. And I found myself, without even intending into it, that kind of doing that. So I thought, why not try to expand on that? Why not see how far I can take that concept? So when the pandemic started, I had a little bit more time in the studio, so I just buckled down to write. And most of the songs on that album are strict drones, one chord throughout. Not everything. I set myself parameters and rules for the album, and then with each track, then broke all of those rules. So going for heavier rock sounds, and then threw an acoustic track in there. Going for no rhymes or choruses, but then I did some choruses, and I did a song that was rhymey. So I think it's good to push yourself, even if you're trying to stay within a connected theme. So I spent most of the summer of 2020 writing and recording that, mixing it, remixing it. Was doing what everybody else was doing, trying to figure out how to do live streams and trying to figure out, okay, what can I do with video? And I tried shopping it around to a couple labels, but pandemic's going on, and no one's going to want to put out something by an artist they've never heard when everybody's scrambling for money. So I thought, okay, I'll release it myself, and I released it in March of 2021. Did my best to promote it. Got some reviews. Got some a fair amount of radio play, and I would send DJs the whole album, and it seemed like almost every DJ picked a different track as their favorite track. So just about everything on that album has been played on at least one radio show. And at the same time, I recorded a video. Again, performance isn't really much of a thing right now. So I took my webcam, my cell phone, my tablet, and set up a multicam situation here in my studio, which, as you can see, is not a lot of space here. So I recorded as an album release show, a multi-camera edited down performance video, and I've got that up on my YouTube channel now. But did a little premiere, had a bunch of people in on the stream, and it was pretty good.
Awesome. I really like the variety of sounds and music. Like you said, each track is different, so it's interesting that everyone's picking a different track because they each have a different vibe. So that's cool. And then what are you currently working on then? Now?
Currently working on a couple things. I want to do a follow-up to that album, kind of expand more on that style, that more heavy, drony. I've been billing myself as post-goth, since not a lot of people are using that term. Some people are using it, but not enough that it's really codified as one thing. So right now, post-goth can mean anything I want it to. And what I'm doing is kind of goth meets post-rock, so it seems appropriate for that. So I'd like to do a follow-up to that, but I'm in the process of moving, so I don't really want to get too bogged down in the writing before I have to pack up everything and move. So I'll start hopefully writing that this summer. In the meantime, I've been doing a lot of one-off projects, doing some collaborations. I had a few compilation appearances in the fall. I have a project that I've been sitting on. I've had the concept in my head for about 20 years, but haven't really felt like I could execute it right. And the concept is a punk rock band of robots in the future, going with the concept of, okay, so if the machines overthrow humanity, well, what if they go through an angsty, rebellious phase first? And this spiraled into this fictional band who's singing about civil rights and singing about equality and issues that really resonate with what's been going on in the past few years. Well, the past history of mankind, but really drawn into sharp relief in the past few years. And I think it would be really good if I could get that out there now. So take this concept of a human in the future who knows that humanity is gone in his timeline, but if he can send this music back in time and this story about what happened and why it happened and why the machines felt the need to overthrow humanity, then maybe we could not make those same mistakes. And I also want to get that done now because I have a feeling that the AI singularity is going to happen really, really soon, and I'd like to get this project done before it becomes really racist.
Yeah, the technology is like exponential growth right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary seeing some of the things that people are trying to do with it. So I think we really need to look at electronic sentience as equivalent to organic sentience, and we need to start thinking about it that way, like right now, before it happens. So this whole thing started out as a kind of a joke and a play on the term cyberpunk, but really it's become something that's been really important to me and really something that I think has a lot of meaning. So I'm gonna try to get that done. Hopefully have that out early this year. Again, with the moving situation, hopefully late summer, early fall at the latest with that.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that. Now, if people want to find you online, social media, get your music, how do they do that?
Well, I am all over all the platforms you want. I'm on Facebook, Doors in the Labyrinth Music. I'm on Twitter, Doors in the Labyrinth, Instagram, SoundCloud, Doors in the Labyrinth. I've got a Bandcamp page that has all of my primary releases. I sometimes use my SoundCloud page to, if I want to do a fun cover or something that I don't want to do a proper release for, I'll put that up on SoundCloud. Whatever streaming platform you like to listen to, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, the whole 9 yards. I've got a YouTube channel with videos, both performance and trying my hand on a couple music video style pieces.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to what you have coming up in the future, and it was good talking with you. And everybody, look him up.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. It was very, very nice to meet you and nice to talk with you.
Yeah, it's great having you. And for everyone watching, I've linked his music in the video description, so check that out.